Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Adventures in Arcane Space. Once again, I am your Dungeon Master, AuldDragon, and the players are...
Hi, I'm David Big Mac Shepherd. I play Braxon Miacc, who's a human fighter and carpenter from an asteroid near Prowl.
I'm Daikami-sama, and I play Solas Ebha, who is Half-Elven Cleric Mage of Ogma.
Hey, I'm James. I play Ockar, young paladin from Brawl.
Hello, everyone. I'm Seal Mortar. I play Finnel'ar Mohani, a druid from Grayspace.
Hey there, I am Zach, and I play the character of Lafdul Moonglade, a specialty priest thief multi-class from Realm Space. His fun little thing is making up fun titles in his current title as a qualified quirky exotic Quicksilver. I shall type that in chat. Here you go.
Quicksilver, as in Mercury.
It's also the official rank I'm given as a full priest.
Or the Speedster from Marvel.
So we left off last week just as you were arriving at a giant village. I'll go ahead and pull you over to this map just so that there's something a little bit more interesting to look at on the stream. I guess you guys are already on that map. The village itself is set essentially on the edge of a swamp. So you're in more swampy terrain than this map currently shows. The village is a lot smaller. You'd guess that there's probably only maybe 24 individuals living here, somewhere about that, including children. But the architecture and everything is fairly similar. You were arriving just about sunset, and you wanted to speak to the giants before you went to sleep. Is that correct? Is that still the idea?
Yeah, I
think
believe
it
so.
dictated what spells we might take the next day.
All right. So the giants that took you up the river and into this swampy area, they seek out the local chieftain, and you are taken into a building. This one is not built up in the trees. This one is built down on the ground. There are still some up in the trees, but this little village has a lot more on the ground than Sully's village does. And you are brought before the chieftain, who appears to be in her, you'd guess late Middle Ages, at least, she's got some graying hair. And she welcomes you into her small hall. Welcome, little off-worlders. I understand that you are looking for a vessel, one of your sky vessels, that we may have seen.
Who's talking? Or is it me? Is it you?
She's talking to all of you.
Yeah.
Yes, we're looking for the eel ship, right?
Eel ship and octopus ship.
Yeah, we described the eel ship and the octopus ship from the descriptions we have and were given.
Yes, I do believe that some of my hunters have seen that in the skies. She gives you a brief description of where they've seen it. It appears to be a few days' trek to the north.
Uh,
And there are mountains up there.
Yeah.
That's likely where they're based.
Do you know the local dragon that claims that region as its territory?
We do not know its name, but it is a powerful one.
Do you know the color of it?
There are a few other dragons in the region, so exactly which... If it's in a particular dragon's domain, we could not be sure exactly which one it is. But we know of two well-established black dragons and one green dragon in the area.
Okay.
Hmm.
Thank you.
So you definitely get the impression from her that that these are not young dragons.
Yeah. So
They're
not
in
something they'd want to go after lightly.
They're not
No.
like ancient ones, are they?
She doesn't know exactly. If you wanna ask her how old exactly it is, she doesn't know
Well,
specifically.
go by size vaguely, wouldn't you?
Yeah, but I mean, unless you're facing one directly, it's like sometimes it's a 20-foot difference, which that includes the tail. It's not always the easiest thing to judge.
Braxon will ask how long they've lived in this village and if the skyships are a recent development, and how long they think they've seen these dragons in the area.
The dragons have been around. These particular dragons have been around as long as anyone is aware.
Right.
They don't keep great track of time. You get the impression of the seasons don't vary much in this area, so it's kind of like the seasons are wet or wetter.
Mm-hmm.
Here, so
You can measure it by how many children have grown up, I guess.
yeah, but again,
no.
if they don't keep close track of time and years and stuff like that, that's not like
Well, no, if a child was born and a child typically lives for this many years before it reaches maturity, we can at least estimate from that.
Yeah, but they don't keep great track of time, so they couldn't actually tell you how long that is.
Are there any children in the village that does anyone get what I'm trying to
Yeah, but if you don't keep great track of time, what's the difference between 50 years and 20 years,
Yeah. So we'd have to guess on a certain person was born and guess how old they are when we don't know how fast their race grows anyway.
I will say specifically that I don't think any of the material actually described how long these giants live for, so I don't have any good idea on that.
Yeah.
But also, the giant villages can sometimes get, they get moved around and stuff like that. They're not. These aren't permanent residences.
Oh, right.
Pseudo-nomadic.
So no, they're not semi-nomadic, but they're generally only around for a few generations before they, they start looking for other places to live because of, these are big creatures. Sometimes, the animals around them start to adapt to their hunting and their living and stuff like that. Sometimes, or there's disasters or stuff like that. Again, this one is on the edge of the swamp. And I'll say that through some further conversations, you'll learn that the swamp has been expanding lately. So that might be, again, this is kind of the thing, they might say, all right, the swamp's getting too close, let's go look for someplace else to live.
Do we know that dragons adjust terrain over time?
You don't know that, no.
All right.
Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but you don't know that.
Yeah, but it could be that they've done something like dam up a river or something.
But also just, terrain changes. Rivers shift their courses, lakes can expand or recede,
True.
Swamps can dry up or expand,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did see something about real world South America, which was a bit like crop rotation, where they chop down a bit of rainforest and they grow certain things and then let it return back to forest and go somewhere else. So not so much nomadic, but just a thing of letting the land rest. So it sounds like they do that sort of thing.
Yeah, that's probably a good comparison. So she will say that the sky ships that they've seen, they've only seen it a handful of times, and it's been pretty recent. You'll guess that, I mean, it's somewhere between like 1 and 10 years is what she means by recent.
Yeah. So can we get a bearing on where they come down, or is it that the trees are so tall that they can't really estimate it precisely?
They like with some interrogation, you'll narrow it down to the mountains.
Yeah.
So it definitely looks
So,
like
yeah.
that's where you're going to want to go.
Did any of the giants, which giant did see did any of the giants see anything in particular?
No, this is all in the sky, far away, kind of thing. Spotted. So like the swamp.
No, I'm just thinking hypothetically if I use mind read on them.
I understand, but like the swamp, it has large trees, but it doesn't have as much cover, so you can see more of the sky out on the swamp. And they do fish and hunt, water creatures for food and other useful materials. So one of them has seen it in the sky in the distance from there. There are a few other places where there are some clearings, either because trees have fallen or, there's just some sort of like bare rock or something like that that prevents the trees from growing in a spot, meaning that you get a good view of the sky from that point, and that's where they've seen it. So, but it's all been in the distance.
Oh, so it's well outside of their range normally.
Yeah. It's not like they've seen it on the ground. It's always been in the sky, and they haven't paid too much attention to it because it wasn't a dragon, and therefore it wasn't perceived as a particular danger.
Is there any other roaming nomads or other tribes of peoples up in the area? Like hostile giants, maybe hostile humans and not the pirates?
Yeah, there
Like other
are other
villages?
giants. There are other giants. She'll mention the brutes and the bosks. They are hostile, and you're unlikely to get any information about them.
Mm-hmm.
And she does mention that there are nomadic groups of smaller creatures.
Right.
And she describes them
Like
briefly,
us.
and you understand that she means that there are some humans, elves, maybe dwarves, gnomes, and kender. But also she mentions some more hostile ones that might be goblinoids.
Right. So we got about 5 days going through the territory of them. Not. Is there anything like a river going in that direction? Comes down from the mountain.
Yeah, so there is a river. I mean, the river does continue up past this town, but the boats can't navigate it. But it doesn't go all the way to the mountains.
How far does it go though?
You can follow it for about a day.
I mean,
It's mostly swampland. It's mostly swampland.
Well, my tree steed can go in water. It can paddle in water. It's got swim speed. But it can only hold 600 pounds of weight. I would need multiple castings for that.
Yeah.
And that's not something I prepared in advance. I only prepared one.
Well, we are not going tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are we more than 1,200 pounds between us?
I am pretty sure, especially with equipment.
Yeah.
I could line load as well. How much time would that save us if I were to do something like that?
Part of it depends on how encumbered people are. I mean, you're moderately encumbered, correct?
No, I'm
Or
not
lightly
even encumbered because
you
I'm not
left
even
some stuff. You left some stuff?
I've taken my camp stuff and it is pushing me on light encumbered. I kept getting my magical armor wrong in my weight calculations because it doesn't encumber me outside of combat. It just adds to my total weight.
Right, it adds to your total weight. It doesn't encumber you at all.
Yeah.
All right, so your movement rate is unmodified.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else encumbered?
Surprisingly, Solas is lightly encumbered.
So you're
Oh,
down to
no, I
movement
am.
of 8?
I am lightly encumbered. My tent
what I
is
thought.
puts me at lightly.
That's what I thought. Alright, so you two are lightly encumbered.
I can use lightning load tomorrow, which will knock that out, and that'll last about 8 hours or so.
Okay.
I can do it on like a bunch of equipment.
Braxon, Ockar, Finn?
Braxon's left a lot of his stuff, but I haven't worked out the exact numbers. I need to
I
get
l-
stuff.
Let's see. I left a bunch of my stuff back on the ship, so I think I'm like 20 or so below line encumbrance.
Okay.
I should be not encumbered.
Okay. Keep
I
in
mean,
keep in
unless
mind that
someone's-
there are combat penalties for encumbrance, so I do expect you guys to be
medium.
keeping
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
One thing that you have noticed about the giants is that they're actually kind of stout. They're not like, gangly. They're not quite dwarven shaped, but they're definitely stouter than a human of a similar size would be.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something to keep a mental note of.
So they actually have shorter legs than you might expect.
Mm.
So they're not very swift.
This tree steed can only move 6 in water.
Okay.
Is that going to be faster than 12 on land?
Well, it's not going to be faster than 12 on land. I mean, if you keep to the land, you're moving.
Yeah,
you're moving
but
at
if
12.
we don't move at 12 on the land, though, I assume, if we're in difficult terrain.
It depends.
What's the terrain like?
Well, it's dense forest and everything like that. It doesn't specifically modify the movement rate. Your movement rate. It modifies your how much you can travel over land during the day. So.
Oh, does it? How long can we travel over land then?
I
generally
have not
speaking, my
generated actual
spells-
distances. I've generated numbers of days based on what I think your movement rates were.
Ooh.
So.
Right.
You remember that I've casted the what was the spell that gave us the endurance to actually
Push.
march longer, and
Yeah, that only lets you go longer. It doesn't let you go faster.
yeah, it doesn't let go faster but longer.
I mean,
And you'll still need your
Just-
sleep, and you'll still need to get spells back and stuff like that.
if I'm taking 2 of my tree steeds tomorrow, can someone take neutralize poison? Because I normally reserve one.
I could take a tree steed as well.
You got major access to that? Travelers, I thought you had minor. It's 4th level.
Yes, but I'm a wanderer druid.
Oh, what's that? I don't know. Tell me. Tell me everything. Well, if you can take it, then I can take. Then I can still take neutralize poison then.
Or no, I have minor to travelers. But is that plant as well?
I didn't see it as that. I've only marked it down as travelers. Probably spell compendium 3. Tree steed, sphere, travelers. In the third spell compendium. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, it just means I'll take 2 of them. And you can take neutralize poison or something. Because someone needs to have it.
Yeah. I think we should, unless we need to find out more information, we need to thank these people, and then we can have a little conference when we
Well,
get ready to sleep. So.
right now, like some of this is just party planning, which is players talking, not characters talking. You're
cool.
you're still getting some general information like terrain information and stuff like that. So, but if there's nothing else specific that anyone has, then
Could Level take a mount spell? So there'll be 3 of us between us. 3 mounts.
What I'd probably want to discuss with the others, which we could discuss maybe in front of the dwarves, is whether we think it's viable to trek to the mountains or
So
whether
like-
we'd have to fly their fire skyship. In which case, they'd obviously see us.
And every other dragon
Yeah.
will as well. I'd rather be on ground.
Does not look like she's taken mount. So
No. Well, we're gonna rest.
yes,
Okay,
yes, but the fact that when a character isn't here, I'm not messing with their
Uh.
stuff.
Can Braxon ask, I suppose, both the people living in the village and our guides that have brought us, if there are any giants that have made long distance journeys of this type?
There are. They don't. The giants themselves don't have much reason to go to the mountains, so they don't typically go that way. The mountains
Well,
are also
not
home to more
yeah.
dragons than other places. So
yeah.
that's one of the other reasons.
But Braxton doesn't specifically want someone who's been to those mountains,
Okay.
which they probably haven't. What he's wondering is if a party of giants walked that amount of distance, how often would they expect to maybe be attacked by other giants, other peoples and dragons and other things?
They really can't answer that. It's they kind of say it's up to the fates. It's up to
Are there
random chance is what they would respond.
any really deadly creatures out there like basilisks? Because they said there were basilisks near the coast, and I don't know how close to the coast or a lake we are, rather.
I mean, again, keep in mind that what is dangerous to them is not necessarily dangerous. I mean, what's dangerous to you is not necessarily dangerous to them.
Yeah, but a basilisk is universally dangerous to most things.
They will mention that there are many reptiles, many of which are dangerous. Some of them can turn creatures to stone, but they're not common. The large lizard creatures tend to be the more common, dangerous lizards around. And of course, there are dragons.
Are there any lizard tribes? Actual lizard men tribes?
No, they have
around
not.
the area?
They have not seen anything like that.
I figured they like swamplands, so.
Yeah, they do. They'd be very good at being able to guide us.
They also mentioned that there are some giant insects and similar creatures that can be dangerous.
Oh, like those flying sturges.
Yes, we've had encounters with them already.
Solas has had a very personal experience,
Those aren't actually insects, by the way.
aren't they?
Here's a question. Maybe if we didn't go all 5, it was 5 days, wasn't it? Estimated.
Something about that.
Right. Maybe if we didn't go all the way to the mountains, I
Oh,
wonder if
5 days.
there's a vantage point that's not quite on top of that territory that would allow us to overlook that area.
No, the ground slopes up to the mountains, and then that's where you got the height.
Right.
Keep in mind that the Octave Arcane and the Star Knights will be arriving in a few days.
Yeah.
And it'll take a day and a half to get back to Sully's village to get onto your ship and go back up there and meet them.
Yeah. Okay. It looks like this might be too far for us to get there and scout.
Mhm. But we've already.
Seems that way.
But we've.
Oh.
Even with this, we've gained some intel more than before.
We have. Here's a question. Is there anywhere near this village where we could land a ship?
It depends on the size of the ship. Certainly, if it was just to drop people off, something the size, your flitter could easily land here.
Yeah.
A dragonfly could easily get in here and drop people off. Your shuttle could easily get in here and drop people off, but neither. The dragonfly could probably find some place to land with the village, although it might crowd the giants in this village.
Yeah.
Your shuttle cannot land in the swamp. There's too many things around there, but it certainly could get close enough to drop down a ladder and have people climb down.
Yeah. So we could certainly take that approach and come with more people and
Yeah.
the right sort of supplies.
Is the path to the mountains mostly swamp, or is it mostly jungle?
You're only looking at swamp for about a day's travel towards the mountains. Then it's jungle and hills and mountains, all covered
Is
in
it
jungle, of course.
Is it possible for us to terraform the land into making a makeshift landing possibility with the hills? You
Do
make
you
enough
have
water.
a few months?
Months, really?
You would not be able to do this in a couple days, no.
But we could probably set up a staging camp here.
Yeah, we can drop people off with the shuttle, the hilt, but it can't land.
Yeah.
How long do we think it would take for the flitter to go back and forth if it was just flittering? I don't know.
Again, we can
6 people back and
Well,
forth.
so other than the pilot, you can fit 9 people on there, 9 human-sized people on there at a time without
But how
problems.
does
So
it take like half a day?
no, it doesn't take half a day.
Quarter of a day.
It depends on the weather, but let me just check something right here.
See, the other problem with the flitter is
it's small. That's why I like it.
That's true, yeah. But if a dragon spotted it and saw that it was coming down again and again and again, it might have time to try and attack it.
It's 80 minutes up, 80 minutes down, assuming it's not, it's not storming or gale force winds.
What if one person hangs back, actually stays at the camps out there, scouting them? Literally stays there. Yeah, it's dangerous, but
you mean here at the
Lever
village?
can get it.
It's not dangerous while the giants are there.
No, but I mean actually scouting out Red Njord's base, separating from the party, because we can communicate some important information between the scout and Lever.
It takes days to get there, though.
Yeah, we leave now, while the rest of the party go back or something, whoever that is.
Are you volunteering to do this?
Be very dangerous.
It would be very dangerous.
This is a heavily forested area. Isn't that tent of Elven kind of perfectly camouflaged?
Yeah,
well,
but you can't. If you were to go, I mean, you'd have invisibility would keep you from being spotted, but it wouldn't keep you from being smelled. Hiding in shadows doesn't let you move very fast. The tent of Elvenkind would certainly help when you are camping, but you'd still be alone without any support in a wilderness area.
I think it would probably be safe for someone to stay literally in this village.
Yes, it would.
But leaving the village and going on with the 3 giant scouts, well, I mean, if someone was going to go try to do that on their own anyway, it would be the same risk, but there wouldn't be us to back them up. So it would be if someone gets in trouble, if we can somehow know they're in trouble, we can land where they are.
Even then, if we know they are in trouble, it takes 80 minutes to land, so...
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Have you got the means to escape a combat?
It's not that have you got the means to escape combat, it's also have you got the means to survive after the combat and avoid the next encounter and next encounter.
I'm also thinking, what can that person do while they stay here? Someone staying in the village, if supposedly we wanted to make a landing site, which I'm not proposing we do, but if somebody wanted to stay and chop down trees to make a landing site, we could perhaps try to clear a bit of land.
Said
but-
that it
Can
would
I?
take months.
Yeah.
Here's a thought. Well, obviously it's nighttime now, yeah? Or is it close to night?
It's close to night, nighttime, evening,
Is
you
it
know.
still visible at long distance? If I were to outer self fly up to the treetops, could I see with Braxon's spyglass if I land on a tree?
I don't know that Braxon would have brought his
Oh,
spyglass through a jungle.
I mean, there's still some things that you could see if you went up there, but no, like the sun is set. It's not pitch dark yet, but the sun has set, and of course, keep in mind that this is a very rainy, cloudy planet. Like,
How hard is it for me to actually climb a tree anyway?
oh, these trees not hard for you to climb at all.
I could just climb up and have a
Yeah,
look, see
the
anyway.
bark is pretty rough in a lot of places. There's plenty of handholds, and then once you get to the branches, it's easy as
Would
possible.
I need to take my armor off? Because that does put me down to 40.
Yes, you would.
Alright. Because without my armor, I go up to
Let me put it-
70.
Let me put it this way:
75.
without your armor and without any like packs and stuff like that, you'd have a 95% chance to climb these things.
Oh, alright.
Yeah. Which
How tall are they? Just in case I have to tumble.
over 100 feet.
Oof.
Yeah, I'd
Jungle
say,
trees tend to be tall.
if you were going to look, you'd be better off flying up. It's a flying elf or something.
Well, no, I can climb up with this. My worry is if I slip, I don't have time to outer self.
Yeah, but a
'cause I fall
slip,
that fast.
a failure doesn't necessarily mean a fall.
You might start falling or something.
Yeah, or it just indicates that there's no more handholds and you have to climb back down, making another check, and then climb another place or another tree.
Could I take a grappling hook and rope? Because I carry that in my pouch.
How much rope do you have?
50. It's a silk rope.
That wouldn't get you up to the branches.
Between branches. No, once I'm up in the tree.
Yeah, but once you're up there, that doesn't matter.
Oh.
The branches are so dense that it's easy to climb.
Oh, you know what? I really want to do this, so I'm going to take my chainmail, most of my equipment off. I'm going to climb up a tree, see what I can see.
Okay.
Before you do
Make myself relatively unencumbered, yeah.
Might be worth checking with the giants, see if they use any trees to act as a lookout post. There might be an easy to climb tree.
Alright. We can figure
Or
that out.
they might have put ropes up a tree anyway.
Well, they've got some tree houses, but...
Yeah, so they actually do, there is a building in one of the trees that you can start from. Meaning that you're not actually climbing up the trunk of the tree and you're starting up in the branches. And you easily get up to the topmost ones that can hold your weight and look out around.
I can make myself lighter by... Actually, did I memorize that?
That's not necessary. You're up
Alright.
in the branches, so... And when you climb back down, you're still above the treehouse, so... So, from up here, you can see just kind of a vast, undulating carpet of green from these treetops. There are periodically, obviously taller trees that kind of create a big lump out of this this green carpet that you're looking at, of the top of the canopy.
Mm-hmm.
You can make out here and there some gaps as well, but you do see that this slopes up and up in the direction of that you've been told that you'll be going in. And there's clearly mountains, but these mountains do not have peaks that peek out. They're completely covered in trees, all the way up to the top.
Oh.
They're not like towering mountains. So they do not have they're not snow-capped peaks.
Is there any telltale signs of any kind of port? Any kind of egress, entrance, anything?
No, you're not seeing anything obvious. I mean, there's gaps here and there, and obviously, you can see that there are some more mountain ridges beyond the ones that are close to you. So this is not just like, one lump kind of thing. It's you've got peaks and valleys and stuff up in that direction.
I look all around me, not even at the mountain. I look behind me towards the village and stuff, just to see if I see any landmarks, anything interesting.
Well, you can clearly see where the river that you came up is, at least from this close, because it kind of creates an almost like a curving knife cut through this green carpet that you're seeing. You're seeing some others miles and miles away to the sides that might be the same kind of thing.
All right. Is there anything else I might have thought of up here that I'm not thinking of? Or
You might be able to see more in the middle of the day.
turn it today?
Yeah, because it is dark. There's just kind of like a hint of the sun on the bottom of the clouds down beyond, down where the sun is setting, kind of thing. Where the sun is set. It's very windy up here. You can see plenty of small birds flying around even at this hour. Although,
birds?
well,
so I can give an idea to Finnel.
You can't tell exactly because it is getting dark. You'd guess that there's some raptor type birds, and then plenty of probably fruit eating birds and stuff like that. Some of them you're pretty sure are colorful, but again, it's darkening. It's gloomy with the cloud cover. It's very windy. You can definitely see patches where there is heavy rain, coming out of these clouds from in various directions and stuff like that.
All right, I climb down, I guess.
Okay. But yeah, it would definitely be easier to see during the day.
I relay whatever I learned.
Braxon thanks whoever owns the building for letting us borrow it.
All right, any other questions?
I put my stuff back on.
Lafdul, do you think there's an angle we can approach that area from without being spotted?
On the ship?
Yeah. Do you think maybe if we came from the other side of the mountains?
I couldn't see beyond the mountains, and plus they're covered in trees.
Right.
I mean, there were some spots I think the flitter might be able to get in. I don't know about the hills.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing if it's trees all the way to the top, there may or may not be a lake up there. So we'd have to be sliding down ropes.
We still need the transport via plant spell. There are plants everywhere.
Oh, you could just go there straight away, could you?
Yeah, well, a tree you got to be familiar with. So
that would make it a little hard.
Would it?
If it's a tree that you're familiar, if it has to be a tree that you're familiar with.
Yeah, that'd only allow you to come back, wouldn't it? You'd have to. One person would have to walk all the way there, and get themselves formally introduced to a tree.
It doesn't. The destination plant need not be familiar to the caster, but it must be alive though.
There you go.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But yeah, I think that's like 6th level.
Yeah. I'll sing if I had it on a scroll.
We could wait till we level up and then come back and do the adventure.
Just wander around in the jungle killing things until you level up.
Yeah. Like
there's a not MMO.
Like grinding in a JRPG.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We can't level grind. We actually have time limits and stuff that we have to deal with.
I mean, things would definitely happen. Yeah. You can try it. I'm not going to stop you if that's what you want to do.
We could spend the next 8 or so sessions in the woods killing boars, like in the South Park.
Yeah, but then you get.
That sounds rather boring.
Cause chaos.
You get negative returns though, diminishing returns. You get 1 XP, 1 XP, quarter of XP.
That was so bad, Finn.
We just keep doing it. We'll get some XP no matter what. Like, if we show up to the session, I'll give it at least 100.
Hey,
On the other hand, since that was you that did that pun, Finn, maybe I should take some XP away from Braxon and give it to you.
Hey,
Because I expect that from Braxon, and I am sad that he missed that one. I'm kidding, of course. So, yeah, I mean,
We'll wander around the woods forever, and then Ald springs like an owlbear or a dragon on us to get us back on task.
an owlbear. I'm pretty sure you guys could dispatch an owlbear.
Okay, 7
you
owlbears.
say that.
shh.
So, does anyone have any other questions, or do you want to get some rest and for the next day?
What are we doing the next day?
That's a good question.
We're-
Do you want to have you could have some discussion right now if you want.
I figured that the best plan would be to start making our way to go scout out to try to
What,
scout.
half a day.
Well,
We can scout like half a day.
Yeah, but if
My
we're not gonna-
spells only work for 8 hours so, per rest. Because if my tree steed's only 7 hours, and my light load's 8.
well,
7 actually.
if we're not going to scout all the way there, I'm not sure what we can learn that's more useful than where we are
that
now.
We can't see now.
oh, we know that the ships are coming from there now. And how many days is it until our allies get here again?
3 days for the Star Knights, 4 days for the Octave Arcane.
What if we just stay here for like 2.5 days, and obviously the half day we come back, be on the ship back to, or just say 2 days here. We just
Yeah,
try
we
and
could do
observe.
that and keep an eye out on the skies to see if they try to take off again, since the giants can see them from here.
And Lafdul can probably find somewhere a vantage point up in a tree somewhere.
Yeah, that's not a bad plan.
When you was up top, could you see back to the village we came from?
Yeah, it's a bit dark though.
Because I'm thinking, if you're thinking of watching the skies to see if they're taking off, we could equally do that back in the village we came from.
Not really. This place has a better vantage point.
Yeah, but it has our ship there. Oh, the other thing is did we come down in the flitter? We didn't, did we?
No, I think he came down the hill.
We came
Would
down
we
in
be
the hill.
able to see
Yeah.
anything take off or try to leave from the other village?
You're
they didn't seem
not
to have
sure. You're not sure. I mean,
Not
it
Because
is
the giants
casually.
there never mentioned seeing the ships.
I think you would have to be actively looking for something to see it.
It's also a day and a half away, which is quite a bit of
Too
extra
far.
distance. So
We might not even be able to see them there, but here we can actually see any ships leaving or coming.
and you might not actually be able to see them take off or land every time here. It just might be that they were going in or coming down, coming down or going up in different angles and or something like that,
But I feel like we
Yeah.
have a better shot here than the other place.
Now keep in mind,
If-
the giants at the other village hadn't seen them.
That's true.
That's exactly what I've been
Yes,
saying.
yeah. I think
That's
it is
true.
worth us staying here and scout, seeing where they potentially are. We take shifts in the tree.
I
mean,
agree
I
with
can get up in a
Lafdul.
tree,
Okay.
and Finn can fly up, I guess, unless he can climb if I put down a rope or some climbing handhills.
you could put down a rope to the.
I have other ways to climb.
Do you? You
Yes,
can
he
fly.
can transform into a monkey and climb.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That's actually quite clever.
Also, you can put a rope down from the top down to
Yeah,
the treehouse that you started from.
that's true. In the last
So
verse.
yeah, monkey is
back.
a very good transformation. You still keep your opposable thumbs.
Oh, God. He's spell casting as a monkey.
You would not be able to spellcast as a monk either.
Oh,
Why not?
come
You're basically
on.
human.
You don't have
You
the
can't
you don't
talk.
have the, yeah, you don't have the vocal cords.
But what if it doesn't require
There's
verbal?
Fireball.
essentially you can't transform. Like none of those shapes would allow you to spellcast. Like that's kind of the point of that. It's great for scouting. It's great for physical combat. It is not something that you could just change into and have all of your full capabilities.
Yeah.
But that's a trade-off that you're getting. You can do quite a lot of other things, but you can't do everything in it. Because then why would most druids would just change shape and never change back, and kind of thing.
I thought
That's
Druids
why in
did that
later
anyway.
editions. That's why in later editions they come up with feats and stuff to let you cast while you're in animal form, so druids never have to change back.
Luckily for Ald, we're not playing later editions,
Yeah.
and he can say no.
Luckily for balance reasons. So, you could do a day and a half here, get back, and then go up to your ship, and then that would be around the time that the Star Knights would be arriving.
That's true. That's true.
I asked Finn, could you talk to a tree? I literally asked him word for word, can you talk to a tree?
What would I ask it?
Have you seen
What?
flying dragon around?
I'd start by asking how much wood a woodchuck could chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood.
Wouldn't you ask what a tree like you's doing in a forest like this?
Well, I just asked for information about dragons, basically. Because that's the only thing it's going to find as relatable. I mean, it's useful information, isn't it?
Perhaps, but I think maybe I can find us some other eyes as well.
Wow, that's your discretion. I just putting the idea out there.
I will also note, I think Finn might already have this idea, but if you talk to a tree in the village, chances are it has not seen a dragon in quite a while.
Yeah, it would just be like, hey.
That's true. That's true. So I've seen a few giants.
And trees don't really see; they kind of react based on
I've heard
feel.
of tree huggers, but this is something quite different.
Just try hugging a tree.
All right,
I'm
so
sure thank you if it can ask tell you.
now you haven't rested yet. So, what other plans do you want to make for the next day? Do you want to do anything else, or do you want to just get your rest and monitor the mountains?
Do we want to make this our staging camp for when we bring everyone down?
Don't see why not.
We should
Let's-
probably ask them then.
Yeah, let's ask them and let's evaluate the area to see how good it would be for a staging camp.
All right, so you go to the giant chieftain, and exactly how are you asking, and what are you going to describe this? Because they may not understand what you mean by staging camp.
We plan to ask some allies of ours to meet here at your village so that we can use it as a starting point before we march on to where the pirates are located.
Would they be... We have no facilities like Sully's village does. What sort of sky ships would they be coming in?
Oh god, what ships did they have again?
Hammer ship.
We can
Hammer ship. And,
we
There's no point.
We can ferry the people down with the shuttle.
yeah, we can ferry them down with the shuttle.
What we're mostly looking for is a landmark to find, and a friendly piece of land where we can land and know we're not going to be instantly attacked.
Yeah.
And
Likely...
some space just to set up a few tents for an overnight.
Yeah, and we most likely would also buy some supplies from you.
Yeah.
How many of you
trade.
small folk are you talking about?
A lot.
Say
We don't-
50?
We don't
Maybe-
know the number yet.
Well, we're gonna have our
Less than 50.
somewhere between I'm guess ballpark estimate maybe 30, 35.
Of course, compensate for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, bear in mind, guys, that we might also want to have people up on the ships so that they can take on any ships that try to give us problems.
I know, but it's gonna be us. They're the heavy hitters from like the Octanar Cave and the heavy hitters from the Star Knights. It's still gonna be a bunch of people.
All right, hold on real fast. All right, so the idea is that it's essentially going to be 3 adventuring parties. You, the Octave Arcane, and the Star Knights traveling.
Oh, I forgot. We were supposed to. We were also supposed to bring in the Company of the Chalice. Never mind.
Well, they had
The
hirelings.
Company of the Chalice was just a contact.
No. I made a deal with them to join up with like the Star Knights to come here, but I'm not sure
Yeah,
if that's
you could
still gonna be
hire
the case.
people from them.
It was
Mercenaries.
it was basically that you could hire them to come with us.
Trustworthy people.
Yeah, but you didn't choose to do so.
Okay.
Yeah.
We should be fine with the Star Knights and Octave Arcane. How much are we splitting with them? 33% each
Yeah.
party.
Yeah, I think something like that.
Yeah.
But before we say we're going to bring everyone down, we haven't yet decided how many people we're going to bring down and how many people we're going to keep in our sky ships to defend against the sky ships attacking.
Right. Okay. So real fast. Let's have a player discussion. Is the idea that essentially it's going to be 3 adventuring groups, you, the Octave Arcane, and the Star Knights, with some giant guides going through the forest to find the Red Njord's base, correct?
I think that's our best plan if we're not gonna alert them to our presence before we land.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what is the plan for your ships?
Leave them at the giant village.
No, the ships can't all land.
The ships are going
Leave
to be
them in orbit.
orbit
Yeah.
until.
We're going with our.
Basically, at least what I'm thinking is once we reach the base, but before we attack, we contact the ships and basically either order them to form blockade or have them assault aerially while we assault on land.
Siege them. If we get the ships involved, the dragons are easily going to notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
better to
but
leave them up in orbit and just blockade.
Yeah,
make sure the pirates don't run from us.
Yeah, I think
If it would be 3 ships against most likely 1 dragon.
Yeah, but there's also we don't know if Red Njord ship's on planet. We know the eel ship was here. It may still be here. It may not be still here.
We still I still think we should keep the option of having them to do aerial assault while we do land assault.
I agree. But we
Sounds
wanted to
silly.
scout out the area, so
But that's why I said that we contact them once we reach the.
What if the ship's not even here?
If the eel ship's already left.
Not the eel ship, the octopus.
If the octopus isn't here, but some of Red Njord's crew are here, we can seize them and we can find out what they're willing to tell us. If they fight us to the death, you can question them after they're dead.
It's not just me. You can do that.
And we can take over the base and wait in ambush.
Yes.
We even have the possibility, most likely, then land one of the ship or 2 of the ships in the base.
Yeah, I mean, even if we don't find and defeat Red Njord, if it might even be better if like 1/10 of his force are here, and we can defeat them, then we've taken away something he uses to attack people.
Yeah.
We know he's going to come here at some point, and then we can watch for him trying to land from space, and then we could try and chase him down and try and knock him out the sky.
And hey, even if we just kill the dragon, that'll be a big advantage to us anyway.
There's a problem with the blockade. I just realized. When we were chasing the eel ship, it disappeared. It will do it again.
That's true.
Which is
No,
why we
now that we know that they can do that, we can
prepare.
tell our allies about
How?
it, and
I
there
would
might be
suggest
there might be ways that we can prevent the
Mm.
or prevent them going invisible or see them still even if they're invisible.
I would suggest that when we can track down the base, if we get a chance, we find out if they've got a special spell jamming helm that makes the ship invisible. And if they do, we take it.
Or it just might be their wizard that's capable of doing
It
that.
could be the wizard. It could be the wizard. Could be the helm. If we steal their helm, they can't get off the planet.
All to say,
And if we can't steal it, we can destroy it.
it's so funny just casually mentioning destroying a helm. That's just 100,000 gold, just down
Yeah.
the drain.
But the aim is to defeat the pirates. If we can steal it, then we can split the money when we get rewarded. But if not, we can do what we can to disable Red Njord's capability.
I mean,
and if we can't take something, we stop him from having it. I mean, he could just steal another helm from another ship because he's a pirate.
and you'd never be able to get that much money for a helm anyway. I mean, that's the retail price. You wouldn't be selling at retail. You'd be selling it secondhand. So,
How much do they go for? 50, half price?
at that point, it's usually trade.
Oh.
Yeah, and to be honest, while I do want us to make as much money as we can for what we're doing, the main thing here is defeating the pirate. So, I will quite happily smash up stuff that's worth money just to stop people from doing their evil stuff.
Oh, yeah. As long as we're paying minimum, as long as we're, covering our basic need.
Well, the main thing is if we end up, and we don't know yet, but if we end up in a situation where we have a limited amount of time and we cannot take over their base, and the dragon is away and it's going to come back, and we can do some stuff, but we can't take over the base, we can do as much damage as possible.
Yeah.
In the time that we have, with some people keeping them busy, and then get out of there and do a bit of guerrilla warfare, and maybe have to retreat with the dragon chasing us.
Do we?
So,
Mhm.
yeah, go ahead.
I was wondering if we had any spare smoke powder. We just blow it up like a satchel. Yeah, I don't know.
An axe will get rid of spell jamming helm.
Yeah, but still takes time.
Anything takes time.
Yeah, I don't know.
Your rod in its axe form's quite powerful, I heard.
Most of those things that you been worrying is something that we mostly need to plan and decide when we know more about their base and are closer to it.
Yeah, I mean, like, you don't need to plan out exactly how you're gonna destroy a helm if it's just the idea of, if this is the if we're in a situation where we need to prevent them from using it, we'll try destroying it, kind of thing. You can wait and see what's available at the time. Like, you don't need to come up with a detailed plan on how that works, because, again, plans change the second you start to implement them.
Yeah.
There's no guarantee that you'll get to that situation, you'll want to destroy the helm, and you'll still be able to do that plan that you created. If the plan is just, we'll try destroying the helm, if we get to a if we get in a situation where that is the best course of action, you just see what you have available at the time. So.
Yeah. So if Lever takes 10 minutes to do this ritual to communicate with people we know, and we have the ships up in orbit, then ideally we need to find a place to camp within the fairly local area. I don't know what sort of site that will be, but maybe we can find a cave or something, and that will be our forward command base where we would decide if we're going to launch an attack or not. And if the ship is actually there, if we can confirm the eel ship is there, we can confirm there's people living there, then that's when we might be committing to an attack. And that's when we may or may not be asking for ships to come down and fly over the area.
We won't know until we have a chance to actually go up there and see.
Hey, I've just had a thought. What you were saying about a dragon attacking could be played to our advantage. If we get one of our ships to come down and their response to seeing a ship is to get the dragon to fly after the ship, then our ship can come down, turn around, fly off, try to go up into wild space and try and get the dragon fighting 3 ships in wild space, where it won't have an advantage because it's not a native spacefaring dragon, hopefully.
Can dragons go into space just like that?
Yeah, but what I'm getting at is if we can bait the dragon away with a ship, then the dragon wouldn't be here.
But what if they have their other 2 ships there? Wouldn't they just send one of those after our ship?
Maybe they would.
Well,
maybe they wouldn't.
It's tiny.
Maybe they would. Maybe they wouldn't. If we can get a forward base after, I think we're deciding on that we're going to go back, meet the others, discuss with the others who's going to be in a party to explore, which might be Octave Arcane. They might be better at that because they have the experience with finding exotic animals, so they probably are better at going through a jungle. And then we've got people that are going to be on the ship, which the Star Knights might be better at that. So we might want to leave most of the Star Knights upstairs. We might want to distribute people, some of our crew, onto the other ships so they've got enough people to man all the weapons and that sort of thing. And then when we get our forward command base, we can see, is there one ship here? Are there both ships here? Is there only one ship here or are there neither ships here? And we can assess the situation then. And we can send a message up to the others then.
Maybe in the meantime, since the other guys are like 2 or 3 days away still, from what it seems like. Is that about right, Ald?
3 days away for the Star Knights, 4 days away for the Octave Arcane.
Maybe we could see about setting up a forward base now that we can bring them to so we can start planning.
The problem with setting up a forward base that isn't here is that we have to get a ship to come and land in the jungle. Now, if the giants here...
Not really. We could just go and get them and bring them to the base.
It'll take the same amount of walking time, though. But
we can already have something set up and not have to spend time setting things up with them.
That's true, but a camp's going to be tents and stuff, and it's going to be food and supplies. So we could certainly go forward for a day and come back and scout. If people wanted to do that. But I think that ultimately we're going to bring down our forces here in a friendly location that's going to stay friendly because these people are staying here. And then we trek out from there. And I don't think we can land closer. So I think we're going to have to come back here to get people anyway. Yeah. So the question is if we're going to...
just a launching point once we have everybody already here.
Okay, so the question is if we can scout forwards, we can ask the people that live here, is there anything within, say, a day's travel that we could use as a base? Like a village they've abandoned, caves, or anything like that?
I think if they abandon village, they will move longer than day's journey.
Maybe. I don't know.
Since one of the reasons why they move is the animals have learned their hunting habits.
Let's ask them,
seeing as they're near rivers anyway.
Let's ask them, seeing as they're in this discussion with us. Braxon will say, are there any friendly people in the direction of the mountains that you've had dealings with, or sites where your warriors camp?
The they will tell you that there are some nomadic small folk who do live in that direction, um, but they're nomadic. There's never any guarantee. They do not live in caves. Um, they don't go up to the mountains that often. They just don't
Yeah.
really have much need for it.
Yeah.
What if we travel out for a day? See
Uh-huh.
if we can ask the local flora and fauna if they've seen this wandering band.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, like, they're a little bit worried about you bringing too many people down for them to be able to support. But they do recognize that it's easier to feed small folk than it is themselves. Pardon me. But if you're willing to, give them some stuff in trade and stuff like that, they'll see what they can do. They will say that if they can occasionally see these sky ships that you're looking for from here, then
Yeah.
wouldn't those people be able to see you have sky ships here? Like, they don't know
Yeah.
the details. They're just kind of like, that seems logical.
Yeah,
If you can see something, they may be able to see you.
Braxon would turn around and say that is a fair point. You might be better off. We might be
Staging
better
back
off
at
landing-
Sully's camp.
Yeah, we might be better off starting off at Sully's camp and then moving people up to here.
We can always land on the Sully's camp, but still would set up the staging ground basically in here, since this is the closest point we can retreat to safety.
Yeah, we could bring down supplies and bring supplies along here and be here temporarily.
Mm-hmm. But what
So
are we gonna do in the meantime? We still got like 4 days before we can do anything.
We could be bringing supplies down via Sully's camp and making.
Or we could, not really in 4 days, since it takes 2 days to get here and 2 days to go back. But we could do, say, day of scouting ahead, looking the closest terrain and routes, and then head back.
I think someone's said something about there being a swamp here.
Yeah, it's swampy land around here.
So
Swamps are
Yeah,
quite
how
dangerous.
how far until the end of the swampy land? Or is that about a day?
So,
So
we could explore route through the swamp and back,
Yeah.
and then go back to the Sully's camp and up in
Yeah.
the orbit.
That would possibly make sense to learn the best way through the swamp.
Yeah, it would help us when we set up with the larger group. We wouldn't have to spend so much time in trying to figure out where's the safe path to walk.
And what we could do if we go forward a day, someone could climb a tree again and have a look and see if we can observe anything.
Mhm.
Could
So,
you see anything apart from seeing the mountains? Could you see any signs of buildings or anything?
No.
I would think they would still
It's
still
also
want to
dark.
hide. Yeah, and I would think they still would want to hide their base, since
Yeah,
even if they have deal with the dragon, it might still encourage other dragons to attack them if they build too obviously.
You
Remember
might
when
even
we
see
went?
the dragon.
Remember when we went to Myling's camp? She was living in
Molly?
trees. Sorry, Mailing. She was living in trees.
Yeah, and you
So
can
it's-
basically see those until you're really close.
So it's possible they might know a way to live in trees. Okay.
Might have learnt from her.
So should we do a day's travel, and then we'll come through here. We'll come through here, and we may sleep the night. And
When
maybe
you say
we'll
a day's travel, like half a day out, half a day back, or
How long have we got?
Basically we camp. Basically, if it's days travel to get edge of the swamp, we travel there and camp there and return next day, and then use the 2 days to get back and are just in time to meet both of our allies.
Yeah.
My
if I'm
spells
not
only work for
mistaken.
7 hours unless I'm only using one tree steed. And then I cast it again, we travel to 14 hours. I can do that, I just need to know that we're doing that. We're traveling for 14 hours out.
When you say this about going out with a tree steed,
It's carrying supplies, maybe you can ride on
oh,
it.
it's not carrying us.
Well, it
Enough
can
supplies
carry
that we need.
600 pounds.
Are we
Wait.
carrying enough supplies that we need it at the moment?
Well, if not, some of us are lightly encumbered. That means we move at 9 rather than 12, or 8 rather than 12, which makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Also, I actually noticed that I'm just below. I'm on 19, not 20.
Well, the reason why I was asking about whether you're planning on using the tree steed to
It's basically
to
a tree
travel.
horse.
Yeah, the reason I was specifically asking about that is if we're going with everyone and you're unable to provide a tree steed for everyone, then the tree steed isn't going to help us get everyone through the swamp.
You can just use it just to carry supplies. That was the main point.
Yeah. Because what ideally we're looking for is a route that's okay for us and others to use to get through the swamp.
All right. Well, so again, to remind you, it'll take a day and a half to get back to Sully's village where your ship is.
Yeah.
So, if you want to get back and up into space to meet the Star Knights, you're looking at 3/4 of a day out,
Right.
a quarter of a day back camping, and then half a day back and then leaving. So it wouldn't be a
it's
full
quite
day
tight.
out.
It's quite tight.
Otherwise,
I
there
mean,
was the idea of just staying here for a day and a half and monitoring the skies, essentially.
Yeah.
And you could also spend that
the-
time setting up some supplies, getting some camping sites decided, and working with the giants to make sure that they can support you.
That's true.
You do a mixture of both, split the party.
always a
Splitting the
great
party
idea.
means people.
Always a
Yeah, we had great fun with those sturges. We're trying to eat everyone. Okay, so I think
Go for yourself. Solas did not have fun with them.
They didn't even touch Lafdul.
I think unless anyone's got any input, we should have a vote on whether we want to move forward, and maybe only for half a day to get some of the route through the swamp, or whether we want to spend time here setting up camp.
It's also going to start storming tomorrow.
It is? Finn, when's that? That's all of tomorrow, is it?
I think Finn's. That's why he couldn't fly, because it was too windy.
Finn?
Yeah, I think it's supposed to storm the next 2 days.
Right.
That also makes traveling through the jungle horrible.
Yeah.
I think we should stay here. We just
Well,
observe.
Again, keep in mind that when you're down on the ground, the canopy of trees actually does a pretty good job of keeping
Yeah, but it's
a lot of that stuff.
slushy.
Yeah, but it actually does keep a lot of that off of you.
I imagine it's quite horrible to traveling as well. Humid.
Oh yeah, it is warm and humid.
If we travel over the land, and we find areas that are a bit swampy, and we wanted to try to make it possible for people to get over, is that something that would take far too much time?
The giants would tell you that generally it's faster to go around such places. The further
Right.
you get towards the mountains, you know, for the next, I mean, like it's only swampy for about a day's travel away from this village.
Yeah.
But it's not so. Like it's less swampy the further you go, so it's usually not a situation that you come up and it's like, oh look, there's a vast miles wide thing that we cannot cross. You can just go around it, you know, or find spots that you can cross, you know, dry spots you can hop across or drop some logs or something like that.
Sounds
like,
silly.
Yeah.
Can you cast Waterball? Can walk over a swamp?
Of course, it's water.
Right.
But I mean, specifically, that's water.
It does the parts where you start sinking, I assume. Includes mud and quicksand, oil.
Yeah, and it
water,
does allow you to do that. But again, it's like, you know, a swamp is not just like miles of quicksand either. There is solid ground in that. I don't want to say dry, but solid.
Okay.
Occasional
So I think
dry patches.
I think there's also a possibility if we scout a route, we might go back and not be able to find that exact route unless we've memorized it.
Especially
Although
since
Druid
it's
might
supposed
be
to
able to
be,
remember.
especially since it's supposed to storm the next 2 days.
Yeah.
That is going to change the, you know, water levels and water composition in places. So.
If it's going to be storming, then we don't want to go to the swamp.
Yeah, I think
Well,
we
no,
just
it's
wait
just
here.
more that if you scout out a route, that scouted route may not work after
Yeah.
you've scouted it.
Yeah.
And you may have to
Yeah.
just choose another route to take. So.
Yeah, so it might be wasted time. Whereas the idea of observing from here could be useful. We might be able to spot the exact place where a ship comes down or goes up. Okay, I'd suggest we have a vote as to who wants to go ahead for part of a day, and who wants to stay in the village.
All right, all those.
I'm voting.
Yep.
Village.
All right, so that's one for the village.
Yeah,
Finn?
Braxon a vote to stay in the village.
All right,
I would want to stay in the village.
Solas and Ockar.
There's a couple things I want to do tomorrow anyway.
I think starting to set up the staging ground might be a good idea.
All right, Ockar. I mean, it's 4 in favor, so. All right, I'll
get his opinion out.
take that as an abstention. Okay, so.
Yeah.
Staying in the village.
It's a good idea, though. It's a good idea, though. If we had a different time scale.
The weather was more favorable.
Yeah, or like if it was easier to, like if the Star Knights and the Octave Arcane already knew how to get to you, kind of thing. Like that's part of the problem is that you kind of need to guide them to your location. And I would say that a 25-word sending would not be enough.
Yeah.
You need magical tracking. That sending can't send mental images, can it?
No, it's just words.
Yeah. No, they changed it in later editions. You could do that. 25 words or an image.
An image wouldn't help. You'd have to be up in space and look down at it, kind of thing, anyway. So
maybe we could spend.
Image is worth 1,000 words.
Finn, maybe we could spend part of tomorrow going out and hunting for a bit of food.
We could.
Because if we're going to bring some people through here and they're worried about us using their supplies up, maybe if there's stuff we can find that's edible that doesn't go off straight away, and then if we don't eat it all, it's a gift for them.
Well,
for their.
So just as a side note, like you guys were, from the way that you guys were talking, it sounded like you were planning on bringing down a veritable army, as opposed to a handful of adventuring groups. There's a bit of a difference there.
Yeah, I'm not sure we could bring down everyone, because the ships need to be able to fight off Red Njord.
The crews, all the crews stay up. It's just the adventuring parties that come down. And we can even divvy up each other's crews and each other's ships if need be, I guess. If
Well, some of it-
right in that.
Some of it will take talking to the Star Knights and the Octave Arcane to narrow that down. But if you have an idea of what you want, then that's your starting point. That's the point that you argue. So.
Yeah.
And they might have a counter idea, or they might even have magic just to make us get there instantly.
I think
They have casters amongst them.
I think it will be us plus some of our people that don't have problems going through the jungle to act as guards or something. And
I think we should let.
Probably more of Octave Arcane.
I think we should keep our crew and marines on the ship in order for them to defend the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, we all are here, and we are going to have two adventuring groups with us, and possibly those 3 giants. So I think that should be enough to make
I don't know about you guys, but I think Lafdul's worth at least 10 crew.
You think Lafdul's worth 10 crew?
I'd say more about maybe 6.5.
That's an odd number.
I was thinking more like
You're
1.1.
Wow.
Well, you're a rather odd person, Lafdul.
Yeah, but I'm a guy of many talents.
Lafdul himself might be worth of 10 crew, but then we have to also count in the Erevan factor, which might make Lafdul minus 15 or...
Alright, so you guys want to get some rest?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright, so the next day, it has not started raining yet, but the wind is definitely picked up. Finn, you would kind of recognize
climbing the tree.
It's not. Finn, you'd kind of recognize that this is probably going to be bringing the storm in with it. And you also wake up to a veritable chorus of croaking out in the swamp. Just there's a lot of frogs and toads out there just croaking away.
Lafdul randomly blames Finn. Finn, stop turning into a toad. It's really annoying.
I will also note, Braxon, that you're 2 hit points down. That would have been restored.
Oh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, make sure you're keeping on top of that. Because if I don't notice that, or if I
another
do
base
notice it,
bonus.
and I expect you to notice it, you might get into a situation where you're 2 points down where you shouldn't be, and that could kill you.
Yeah.
I can refresh some of my spells as well, since we're here.
So yeah, change up your spells, and I guess we'll see what you guys specifically want to do. Do you actually want to have, like, shifts up in the tree?
I can get up, Finn can get up.
We could do. Well, if we're going to go out and get supplies, there might be some of us wants to go get supplies instead of watching the tree. Who's best at looking at things? Braxon doesn't mind going up at the tree at some point.
I don't really mind. It's more the case of I'm capable of doing it myself easily.
Any of the elves are the best, so.
Okay.
And also, Finn, you said you wanted to do some stuff out in the jungle?
Yes.
Okay. Is that gathering herbs?
No.
Oh, okay.
Do you want a bodyguard again?
I wanted to spend the morning hunting small game.
Okay.
Okay. Would I get in the way?
Solas will spend most of his time basically going through the organization of the base camp with the giants, looking for the best spot for us to set up the tents and such, and also discussing compensations and such.
I should also mention that you basically they wouldn't have like a little cabin that you could take, but you were given like a corner under a table, in one of the buildings that was generally only used during the day, and they set up some like cloth panels to give you some privacy at that point.
Give us one of your tables and a cloth.
Yeah,
there's our tent.
So let's see. Solas, what do you want to? How do you want to start with that?
Well, basically, I ask if there's a area in the village or near the village where we could basically send multiple tents without it bothering them.
Okay, they do show you a spot that you can do that.
And then I would talk them about the food we would need, since I would basically estimate us to be 3 adventuring groups, so that would give me rough estimate on the number of people.
Yeah, so less than 20.
Yeah. And food and other supplies we would need for the base camp and when we set off the expedition.
They can easily supply you with that while you're in the village, and they'll do that for free. But if you want to take stuff with you, then that's going to be something that you're going to need. You're going to need to trade for.
Yeah, I think we want to take food with us from the village.
All right. So do you have a suggestion on trade? They don't use a whole lot of coinage here, so they'd be much more interested in trade.
I asked them if they would be do they have a smith in this village?
They have someone who can do some smithing.
Basically, I'm suggesting as a trade that we could offer some either some alcoholic beverages or some metal.
They'd be much more interested in the metal.
Well, I basically offer them some metal as a compensation from our cargo.
How much are you offering?
Do we have metal in the cargo?
Yeah, we have
Yeah.
metal, a few tons of metal.
We have worked and unworked stuff in there.
Yeah, I would offer basically what Lafdul, since Lafdul was the trader, would estimate around.
Well, we can say what we got and then just think what's fair compensation considering.
Yeah, but
Oh no.
basically,
You're not getting away with that. You're making the you're making the starting offer.
Basically, I would start with our offer of 50 steel pieces worth of metal.
Really? You'd do a lot more than that.
Let's see what they
we're
say. They
Sure.
really liked the glowing things that Never gave them.
And also, I offer also those same continual light stones also as a possibility.
All right. They would accept that and 2 continual light stones.
50 steel's worth of worked goods.
Unworked.
Unworked, since they have someone who can smith it.
This is the stuff that we can. Yeah. Oh well. All right. I will just make a note that minus 50 steel.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, since they don't use
was
coinage, so
traded to was bartered with the chunks.
Yeah,
basically that is for the supply, so we don't need to bring that much food with us down here.
No, but we'll.
I just adjusted the note. You can see it now.
We'll have to bring that.
Yeah, but we can.
Perhaps ask them if it will be acceptable if we left that with Sully when we come up in the boats.
Yeah.
So that it can be brought in the boats after we've gone on.
Yeah. I ask if that's okay.
Yeah, they'll accept that.
Yeah. That way we can just leave it off with Sully and it won't delay it too much.
It's almost like we should always have some kind of cargo to trade with.
I mean, quite a lot of places don't use coinage and instead use bartering. So, and even if they use coinage, they might not use your coinage. So bartering supplies is always a good idea.
Hey, we could actually pay in our money, in our currency.
But yeah, Also, after I've basically negotiated those supplies and the base area, I will also just talk them about the surrounding area and the best routes, basically, for the rest of the day.
Okay. Finn, you want to start out doing some hunting?
Yes.
Okay.
Brax's gonna offer to go with Finn.
Who's on watch? Because I can cast Bless Watchfulness on one of you two. It just makes you less likely to get ambushed, but it also might help on hunting.
Well, Braxton will probably be hanging back a little bit and letting Finn
Alright, I'll cast on you then.
sneak up on creature.
It just means that you're harder to put to sleep and you're more alert.
If Finn's okay with Braxton coming with him, he might not be.
Nah, it's fine.
Braxon, you do not have the hunting proficiency, correct?
No.
Okay. And
His idea is just to be there in case
I understand.
wants to eat.
I understand. Just checking.
Yeah.
Finn, you do have the hunting proficiency, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Let me check something.
Oh, I say to Finn, if you can get some berries, we can, between both you and me, we can cast good berry on them.
Braxton does have what was it? Wild space survival. I don't know if that helps him find food anywhere, or at least not get in the way.
It helps you find food in specifically wild spacey places, i.e. small asteroids.
Yeah, which wouldn't be here, but I don't know if it would mean that he could use some sort of skill to not basically disturb animals and stuff.
No, there's a proficiency check must be made with a -1 penalty to the ability score for every non-proficient hunter in the party, so that's just going to be a -1.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see.
Would Leather do her cat's grease and strength on people? Because she might cast strength on Braxton or something.
Since she's not here and you're not actually expecting combat...
She did tell us yesterday. We were in a group talk with her yesterday.
She didn't say anything to me, and that's one of the downsides of someone not being here. So again, like the thing is if a player isn't here, I'm going to do the bare minimum for their character. Like that's one of the downsides of them not being here because as a dungeon master, I have a lot to do already. I cannot then do everything that their character would normally do. I will, you know, roll them with the basic stuff during a combat situation, but yeah, that's basically it. You know, it's just the downside of someone not being here. Okay. All right, Finn. How long do you want to spend, and how many creatures are you trying to get? Are you just trying to supplement your food, or is there like an ulterior motive of like figuring out what's around?
Partially figuring out what's around, partially getting something for use in another spell later.
Okay.
Which would be food of something that a bird of prey would like.
Ah, okay. All right. All right. So, go ahead and give me a hunting proficiency check. You get there's a normal -1, so that'll be an additional -1. Okay.
Not with the -1 additional, but
right.
It still makes it.
Yeah. So your score now is 16 with Braxon. All right. So, the first thing that you spot and bring down is a small deer-like creature. That would definitely give you enough meat for a couple people at least. Actually, probably more. You probably make that into like a stew for the entire party for one meal. Go ahead and give me another hunting proficiency check. The next attempt was a goodly-sized lizard, but it scampered away into a log that led to a some sort of underground den before you could bring it down. Give me a third one. Nah, you didn't see anything this time. And one more. Dang. Yeah, unfortunately, that time you did see some small creatures, but nothing that you could get. I'll give you one more chance, because this has just been like 18, 19, 20. That's just ridiculous. Okay, this time you did succeed in bringing down a small, kind of a rodent creature, but about the size of a rabbit. It looks like it's clearly something designed for burrowing, but you managed to sneak up on it and bring it down with an arrow.
Okay.
It does look like the kind of thing that a large hunting bird would eat.
That works.
Did Finn mention that he's gone hunting? Yeah.
Yeah.
Could Lafdul attempt to? He can't hide in the tree, can he? I just want to see if I could snag a flying creature past with my ring of telekinesis.
All right. So sorry. What exactly are you? I mean, like weren't you going to be watching from the top of that tree?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what I mean. But you said there were flying birds around. I'm just seeing if I could hide up there and just randomly grab a flying bird out of the air with my ring.
I don't
gonna
think
be
you
up
could
there.
use telekinesis to just grab a bird out of the air. I don't like. Do you think that you could just go outside and grab a bird if it like flying around?
It might
if
land
it
on a nearby branch or something.
I don't. Animals
It's all right,
are
it's fine.
usually
It was for flavor.
Yeah.
No,
No.
no.
I mean, if you bring your bow up there, you could shoot something down.
Isn't that like dangerous?
If you're very lucky, a bird might land on your head.
I mean, I don't think it would be particularly dangerous for you. You can perch up there pretty well.
Yeah, I'll take my bow up there. I'll take a piled shot. I wouldn't be. It'd be very hard for me to collect it because it was just 400 feet.
Right, that's the problem.
It'd be squished.
But you could do that if you wanted.
Yeah, that's fine. Oh, shame I didn't have ingestible sleep poison. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I'll just let it pass.
So up in the tree top, Lafdul, give me a d20, please. Okay, you do not see any ships in your time up there, taking off or landing. But you do clearly see the storm move in, and it's a thunderstorm. It starts rumbling. You can see the kind of a curtain of rain advance towards you. Flashes of lightning in the clouds.
Yeah, I'm getting soaked up there.
Occasionally strike down. Well, it hasn't come yet. It hasn't started raining on you yet. This is as the morning goes on. But it is about lunchtime when the rain does hit, and there are occasional bolts of lightning that streak down from the clouds and hit amongst the trees. Whether they're hitting trees or hitting the ground, you're not sure. But before that happened, you did see a fair number of birds flying around. Quite a few of them were colorful, tropical-style birds, probably fruit eaters, and also hunting birds of various sizes. Some of them pretty large. Anything else that you want to observe? Like anything else that you're specifically trying to observe up there?
I'm just casually looking around, all around in general. I mean, occasionally all around. I'm looking for disturbances of the trees, I guess. Something that might be on the scale of a dragon. That's the trees are just suddenly moving a lot.
No,
And like sections.
no. And you don't see anything like that. The only disturbances you see, you're pretty sure, are related to animals hunting. You know, like occasionally you'll see a big burst of birds fly out from some treetops, and
well, that's
right. But shortly after that, another bird flies up with something in its talons, kind of thing. And you'd recognize that obviously a hunting bird just attacked a flock, got one, you know, while sending the others scattering or something like that. That's the only kind of disturbance you see up there.
Of the day.
And of course, the wind is blowing the treetops and moving everything. And it definitely gets loud up there and wet.
Yeah, I'm getting soaked. Well, at some point, probably.
Yeah, afternoon, it really starts coming down, and you're definitely going to get soaked.
Yeah, I couldn't take my aura comfort because I had to refresh my temporary healing potions.
I mean,
I'd probably come down a bit early actually if it's getting quite unbearable.
I mean, and once the storm really comes in fact, let me see how this music goes. This audio track.
Lafdul and the Search of Gold. Not
Gold.
gold. Gold.
Oh.
So there we go. We got some ambiance now. And yeah, there's you know, it's raining, which means that the visibility is dramatically reduced once the storm comes in. So you can't see the mountains anymore anyway.
Yeah, I'm down.
Okay. So based on Finn's prediction, that's going to be going for the rest of the day at least. Probably into tomorrow. Anything else that anyone wants to do? Finn, do you want to do anything more? That hunting was what you got in the morning, before the rain came.
Yep. So I'll bring it back and we can have stew for lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, but do we have to formally introduce stew to everyone before we have lunch?
Braxon
Moving
doesn't get
on. Braxon doesn't get any?
You see, he's getting XP, but I'm not. You've probably got a fan out there called Stuart who really appreciated that joke. Anyway, yeah, sorry.
Or maybe he doesn't appreciate his name being made fun of.
I wasn't making fun of this hypothetical fan of yours, Hold. I was just including them in your story.
So you saying that all of Ald's fans are hypothetical?
No.
Twitch chat doesn't exist.
only people called Stuart who haven't replied in the Twitch chat. So go ahead and reply if your name. Look, see, Tilda Rabbit's just giving us some points. That's my alibi.
So anyway, in
You
the
ain't
afternoon,
got no alibi.
I would like to cast the Animal Friendship spell.
Okay. And you're trying to make friends with a hunting bird, I assume.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So you go out, and do you need to spot the creature in order to do that?
It doesn't specifically state that, and does say the caster can use this spell to attract up to 2 hit dice of animals per experience level he possesses. This is also the maximum total hit dice of animals that can be attracted and trained at one time.
Oh, so it's not just one creature; it's multiple creatures.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Where are their crows?
There are no crows in this forest, and I know of some people who will be very disappointed by that, but there are no crows. Let me take a look to see what we've got hit die-wise for some of these creatures.
You summon a load of sturgeons.
There are no crows, but are there ravens?
Okay, so Lafdul would be able to tell you about some of the things that he saw up in the tree, which I suppose you could go up there and use that. That might be one thing that you could do. Are you looking for normal-sized raptors or some of the larger ones that he saw?
Let's go for the normal sized ones.
Okay. Alright, so they're going to be, I'll use the hawk large rather than the eagle. Alright, so, so you can get 2 hit dice per level, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, 14 hit dice.
Yep.
Wow. Alright, do they make saving throws or anything?
They do get to make a saving throw. If the animal does not roll a successful saving throw versus spell immediately when the spell is begun, it stands quietly while the caster finishes the spell. Thereafter, it follows the caster about.
Yeah, it
Because this
sounds
takes
like...
an hour.
Oh, an hour. Oh, okay. It sounds like you're supposed to cast it when you see it from that. Let me take a look at the spell real fast. I've never actually had anyone use this, so this is a first time for me. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, the range is only 10 yards, so 30 feet. And what is your goal with the friendship?
Well, 1, I've wanted an animal companion for a while.
Okay.
And 2, maybe to have them look around the area for us. And come back and tell me what they see.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think that I will go with it just being one creature for now. Okay, so it makes a saving throw. Let's see. I'm gonna say that you'll probably need to go up in the trees to do this.
Okay.
Just because of the 30-foot range for it. And then you'd kind of like wait until you saw the creature and you started casting. So let's see. Okay, so you waited until one of these birds flew by. You'd guess it was looking for some good shelter from the storm. And as soon as you see it and it's within range, you start casting. It alters its course and flies close to you, and perches on a branch nearby, kind of eyeing you, occasionally cocking its head to the side as you're casting the spell. You finish the spell, and it kind of squawks at you and hops a little closer. And I think that's probably when you'd feed it the food that you hunted for it.
Yep.
Okay, so you will have to give it the training. Let's see, 3 specific tricks or tasks. I think it only has animal intelligence, so that's just going to be 3. And you'll have 3 months to teach it the 3 tricks. And it takes a week per trick. So you obviously don't have to start that now. But if you use Speak with Animals, you could speak to it directly to get information.
And that was my next thing I was going to do.
Okay. So, as it is eating the small rodent creature that you hunted, you cast Speak with Animals?
Yes.
Okay. What did you ask it?
Well, first I ask what its name is.
It doesn't really have a name. Animals don't really have that concept, I think. So it'll be up to you to give it a name, if you want.
Okay.
And it would convey that to you.
Okay.
Saves
On the
me from
bri-
having to
on the
name the
bri-
animal.
On the bright
Yeah,
side,
but-
you can float names at it until it decides it likes the name that you gave it.
It's a hawk, but a blank canvas hawk. It is a hawk, isn't it?
It's a hawk-like creature. I'll be using the hawk stats for it. It's a raptor of some sort, native to this this world. That is not a very smooth transition in that sound.
At least it's not Velociraptor.
No, it's not. So what other questions did you have for it, Finn?
Well, introduce myself to it as well, and ask if it has a mate.
It replies back to you, no mate yet, too young.
Okay.
The wife and kids.
You'd guess that the next mating season is probably when it would be old enough to have one. Start
Well, I
looking
wouldn't
for one.
want to take it away from its mate, is why I was asking that.
Yep. That's why I figured, and that's one reason why I decided it wouldn't.
And I ask if it would like to help me with something.
You give good food. If you have more food like that, then yes, I will help you.
I can find you more food.
Good.
So, we are looking for other men, like myself, that are supposed to be hiding up in the mountains. Have you seen anything like that?
Seen some. Mostly small stone folk.
Small stone folk.
Like stone.
Dwarves, I guess.
Do you want to make an intelligence check?
Sure.
Alright.
Isn't that like gully dwarves or something?
I think you just need to just roll a d20.
Yeah, I think that didn't work, is what I think. I'll have to look at those again.
Might have needed a space in there. Yeah, you're not sure what he means by that. I mean, you as the player can make an extrapolation based on that and draw your own conclusions, but your intelligence check doesn't.
Okay. Has it ever been up near the mountains?
Oh, yes. Mountains have good food. Not as good as down here, but sometimes go up there. Different birds up there. Some tasty.
Okay.
Ground creatures down here are tastier, though.
Oh, would you like to come down and shelter out the storm with us?
Yes, was looking for a place to get out of rain.
Well, come on down. And I'll climb down out of the tree.
Okay. And it kind of hops from branch to branch down and hops along after you, like, launch it itself into the air and taking a perch nearby as you get from each to each one.
Did Finn say he was going to do that?
I don't think he did.
See, the Mischiefmaker part of me was like, oh, look, a bird in arrow's range. I'm going to shoot it. I'm genuinely like, I don't know if... I'm not trying to be that, but I
Would you
think
not?
Lafdul might do that, because that's kind of Lafdul's
Would you
thing.
not?
I don't know.
Would you not
That's-
see Finn
I would've-
standing near a bird?
Yeah, if Finn's near it, then yeah.
This
Yeah.
bird is clearly accompanying Finn.
Alright, yeah, then, yeah.
And this is not a good food bird, so...
Out of interest, what would have happened if Lafdul had been polymorphed as a bird and he had, basically as a raptor, and he had been the bird that came close to Finn?
Unless he
Polymorph's
rolled a
not a
spellcraft
true-
check. I mean, he's not a true bird.
It would be shape change.
I know what would
Even
happen.
if shape change, you're still you.
I know what would
Are
happen.
you?
Yes,
there,
you are.
There would be fanfic, and we don't want fanfic.
Oh, everyone wants fanfic. That's why I was trying to remove your clothes. She's just plotting now. That's why she's been so quiet.
So yeah, there's no these spells only like and especially on top of that, the spell only works on creatures of 1 to 4 intelligence that are normal creatures. If you are shape changed or polymorphed, then you're not one of those. The only one that would work is polymorph other if you have lost your sense of self and become the creature itself. But then you are the creature itself, so.
So basically, Finn couldn't get Lafdul as his animal companion.
No, wish spell, he could.
No. I mean, like, the wish spell would have to turn you into that creature, and then you'd be out of play. And this is just a animal friendship spell, not, you know, this isn't a special category of animal companion. This is an animal that he has befriended who has decided to agree to accompany him. So, Finn, you come down out of the tree. The giants are curious about your new friend, and you'll have to field some questions from them, and they'll be a little bit amazed by it. But is there anything else that you guys want to do during the day? It is going to be storming for the rest of the night, however, so you will need, I mean, the rest of the day and into the night, so that may affect what you want to do.
Did the giants really care about this table?
I mean, they wouldn't want you to do something to the table. What is your idea? I mean,
I was thinking of casting Shape Wood to give it more of a better shelter.
Well,
you're inside a building. They didn't take the table outside of the building. It's just that
Alright.
it's a way that they could then drape some stuff off of it and make an enclosed, more private space for you in what is a 20-foot high ceilinged room.
Yeah, well, there's something I've memorized.
All right, so is there anything else that you guys want to do during the day, or do you want to move on to night and the next day?
He informs the rest of the group about that he's organized the base campsite for us and supplies.
So you start digging trenches. Turn us into a fortified jungle castle. That's what you engineers do, right?
Well, you would have to dig the trenches yourself.
No, I mean, you've got a magical device that does that. Lafdul ain't doing no hard labor.
We
He
probably
skips hard labor.
we probably don't need to do too much. We're probably just going to go here and stay here one night. Then move
Yeah, but basically
Oh.
I informed that I've secured just the area that we can freely camp in, and
on. Okay.
also supplies that we can take with us when we head to our expedition.
Braxon will probably ask Leva to send a message up to our ship to check that everything's fine,
Okay.
and that to check if they've seen anything suspicious or seen the other ships arriving.
You'd get a response back that they have not. Everything's
Right.
fine. They have not seen the other ships yet. They haven't seen any other ships
Right.
yet.
Okay.
And I will introduce my friend to the party and relay what I've learned from
Alright.
him.
Braxon will immediately ask what his name is.
I think
You
I'm
can
going to
try-
name him. I think I'm going to name him Shirak.
Shirak. You should name him Stew, because then we could have stew for dinner all the time.
I mean, I think you'd only have stew for dinner once, so.
No, invite him over, not be the
Yeah.
dinner.
And,
Yeah,
and,
we invite him for dinner.
and,
What do
and
you
I,
think this is, Ravenoff?
I think that I think Finn might be slipping something into your dinner tonight.
Hey, Braxon.
So- Ooh.
Have you ever woken up and seen a bear standing over you?
No, but I wasn't.
Would you like to?
About, well, maybe. I wasn't actually talking about eating your bird friend.
Solas offers some dried meat to the Sharak.
It's dried though.
Yeah, he doesn't have fresh meat on him.
Wow. Finn got fresh meat early, he got stew.
He'll
Well,
take
so-
it, and just for this, I think that the speak with animal spell is still in effect. So Shirak would eat the dried meat and turn to you, Finn, and say, "It's okay. Fresh is better."
So if Braxton calls this bird Shirak, will it light up?
What?
It's a word from Dragonlance. It's what Racing uses to make his staff light up.
Yeah, that's a command word. It's a nonsense word.
Well, it's the same word as this bird.
No, it's not.
It's close enough.
Close enough is not exact for a command word. Anyway, so it sounds like you guys will be wrapping up the day and going to rest. Yeah, Finn? Lafdul?
Yeah, Finn.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lafdul looks like Finn apparently.
Yes, you do.
Maybe he's using his has disguise a bit too much. Now I want to see if I can forage for some berries after my watch or something.
Okay.
If I get there.
Then
Or
I think
if I
we'll
can-
I think we'll handle that after the break.
Yeah, so there's. Well, can I potentially find material for disguise kit like on this and paints and stuff? I don't know. Maybe using herbalism, some plants that do dyes and stuff.
I
Maybe some
will. I'll give
clay,
it some.
puffy-
I'll give it some thought during the break, and we'll handle that after the break.
Alright,
Sounds good.
that's cool.
See you after the break, everyone.
All right. So we'll be back in about 10 minutes, everyone. See you shortly.